You know, in my free time, I constantly find myself coming back to Greg Tech. It's almost like I love Greg Tech. I hope that landed. And that should hopefully give you a hint as to what we are doing today, because no, I would not be playing a Greg Tech pack on YouTube if I did not make a pun about LUV. So hello everybody and welcome to the next episode of Greg Tech. I actually had a hard time figuring out exactly what I wanted to do this time, but I did find a solution. There's a few directions we could have gone, but I think I found one. It's gonna be similar, I think, to the IV Down the Rabbit Hole episode, so this might be a Down the Rabbit Hole 2.0, Down the Rabbit Canyon, if you will, or who knows, maybe this episode will not be a mess at all and it'll actually be great. But anyways, the first part of today is going to involve getting LUV. One can almost say, I love LUV. It's so stupid. Anyways, roll the credits. So first up, we're actually going to need Signalum. This is the LUV superconductor. We have literally everything for this. I should have done this ages ago. I could have had a lot of Signalum by now. So this all on an EV mixer, and we should be good to go. So that should be everything now for Signalum. You should be mixing. There we go. You are not mixing. And this now just needs an EBF. So I should have an extra one somewhere down here. Awesome. So now I am running this. It's going to take 45 seconds per ingot. So that's not going to be very good. So maybe I should upgrade this to LEV at some point. Maybe I'm spoiling myself here with this. No, we won't. We'll keep it at the 46 seconds. We can be patient. There's a lot of stuff we have to do today anyway. Boom, our first piece of Signalum. So we're gonna go and put that in here. And I have this set to make 4,000, I believe. So hopefully that should be enough backlog. The next thing that we're gonna need to unlock LUV is rhodium plated lumium palladium. Think? Yeah, rhodium plated lumium palladium. What a name. Anyways, we have stockpiled enough rhodium that we should hopefully be able to make, like a whole bunch of this stuff. We have plenty of lumium, we have plenty of palladium. Should just be as simple as an IV mixer. And this we're also going to want an EBF for. Boom. I think that gives us our next trophy as well. Oh yeah, we're officially in the late game. I never thought I'd make it this far, but here we are. But now, we're finally... Oh, look at this. We have to put this over here. LUV age. That is beautiful. So there are plenty of new things that we can do in LUV. One of them includes the assembly line. Now, the assembly line is used for a whole bunch of LUV components, including the energy hatch, the pumps, the robot arms, all of that jazz. But it also unlocks the next tier of circuits. Along with that, everything gets cheaper, as you guys know. That is the trend with Greg Tech, and I believe we also unlock nuclear fission? Fusion? One of the two with nuclear craft. I think we can actually do that in IV, but you need LEV to do a lot with it. So that was kind of the plan. But once again, this is going to be kind of a down the rabbit hole episode where I want to solidify myself in LUV, and I do believe nuclear fission is a part of that. But first, before we do that, we need to make ourselves some assembly lines. And of course, it wouldn't be Monifactory without the rain. It is always raining in this mod pack, but we need a spot for the assembly lines because as of right now, despite all of the room that I have in my base, I feel like I don't have any. So we need assembly lines and a lot of them. And with that comes a lot more base building, so you guys should probably be hearing music right now. It's time for a montage. So before we actually get started into any assembly lines, I actually want to do a little bit of nuclear craft. At least I want to start making all of the alloys so that when we come back to it later in the episode, we have all of them ready and we don't have to wait on anything to make any reactors. So we're going to need a few things. One of these things is going to be tough alloy, hard carbon, and ferroboron. It's a lot of steel. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly batch craft some steel so my system doesn't run out of any. In fact, actually, instead of putting these on passive, it might be faster to just craft them with the alloy blast melter that I already have. Let me see if I can't upgrade this thing. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think this will actually be 10 million times faster. So if I give this thing a 4 amp energy hatch, we're going to go ahead and we're going to batch craft all of the nuclear craft alloys. We shouldn't have to wait too long. The alloy smelter is pretty fast. Yeah, so we're going to make this 10, so much better. We're going to go ahead and put HSSG on this and a 4 amp IV energy hatch. So this should be running a lot faster. So for instance, I'm just going to make 1,000 of the tough alloy and another 1,000 of the hard carbon. Oh, wow. That finished just about instantly. If I want another 1,000 of this, how fast is this going to be? It's already done. Okay, yeah, see, that is what I'm talking about. How fast does it do steel, I wonder? Yep. All right, you know what? I actually don't think we need to passive any of the nuclear craft stuff. We could just run it through here. Next up, though, is floor 3 of the assembly room. I am loving this room. I think it's going to feel a lot better once the assembly lines are actually in, and I have a little glass window here. There's a B, of course. It wouldn't be complete without the B, but each of these little stalls is going to have an assembly line in it. Now, for all sakes and purposes right now, we just need one for auto crafting, and that's just about it. But eventually, we're going to do a lot of automation and passiving with assembly lines, which is going to be really frustrating because assembly lines take a while to passive stuff and build, but we will get there eventually, but we're not there just yet. We just want one of them so we can craft some stuff. So the assembly line is going to need a few parts, all of which we should be able to make. So one of the things we're going to need is some data sticks. Now, these are to store data, which needs some... Of course they do. We need NAND memory chips, which we don't actually have. Seeing as these are used quite a bit, I think I am actually going to passive these. And that's just going to need some more stuff in the clean room. Awesome. So just something like this should be perfect. You should start running as soon as you get power. So now we should be able to make everything we need for like data sticks. I'm going to go ahead and like batch craft 9 of these, which we can't do right now. Can I do 2? We're also going to need a scanner, preferably the highest one we can make. And this is so that we can actually unlock different recipes using the data stick. So now I think I'm just going to try and craft up everything I need for an assembly line. Very expensive craft, but we should have everything we need for it. So just about here, I should have enough space to build this. And I think this first assembly line, we're just going to do for a lot of auto crafting, right? So I think for now, I'm just going to do, maybe I should do this one as a long one. I think we'll do 12. Does 12 sound good? Hopefully 12 of these should be good, or 12 long. And if I'm not mistaken, it goes a little something like this. Hopefully I'm not messing this up. In fact, I think I might want to raise this up by 1. So on the bottom of this assembly line, I am going to have 12 different input buses. I need 4 input hatches. And I think I can do an ME output bus. I'm hoping I can. Aha. But this is finally working. We have our first assembly line. Along with this, we need to scan stuff. So for example, for the LUV energy hatch, I'm going to need a data stick with information on how to make that LUV energy hatch. So, for now, I don't know where I want to put the scanner, probably somewhere in here. For now, I'm just going to set it over here. And I want to scan this. And now it's going to scan, and that specific recipe was for the LUV energy hatch, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, this needs a data stick, which we need to scan the IV energy hatch, and boom. That'll give us the recipe for the LUV energy hatch, which we then put into the data hatch right here in order to tell this assembly line how to craft it. Boom. Boom. So we should be able to put this into here. But now what I have to do is sort of set up auto crafting with this thing. And that we're going to do with a whole bunch of storage buses. All of these on insert only. And you might notice that these cables are colored differently, and that's because we're going to put this on a subnet. So what we can actually do is, let's say we want our pattern provider to be, we should probably get it up close, right here, and we can put this onto an interface. This interface is going to be connected to this assembly line subnet, which I'm going to need to go ahead and power like so. So now that we have the assembly line formed, there's actually a few things that we have to do in LUV before we get the LUV energy hatch, which is the end goal for this chapter. A lot of those being a bunch of miscellaneous alloys, but we also need an LUV mixer, which is in fact going to require the assembly line, and also a few alloys like samarium and ruridit. Ruridit we should have everything that we need for, it just needs iridium and ruthenium. Both of those we get from Flatline. We're then also going to need osmiridium, which is exactly what it sounds like. That is osmium and iridium, but this needs, like I said, that LUV mixer, so we're going to have to use the assembly line for that, which means a lot of mixers and a lot of blast furnace-ing. So I think it's time for a little short montage, and I'll be back when we have some of this stuff going, and we'll actually be able to use the assembly line. Alright, so I believe I have just about everything I need to get started with the assembly line. So for example, I know for a fact we're going to need this LUV electric motor, which I should probably do all the research for all this. How many data sticks can I make? Can I make 5? I can. So I made one of each of the IV components, and these I can scan to get the recipe for the LUV ones. So this one I can now put in here. I want the electric motor. So now if I go and teach my system how to make this, there's a few other things we're going to need to teach this how to do. I need to go ahead and I need to figure out all the different items in here. And then what I need to do is on these storage buses, for example, this is the input hatch. What did I need for the fluid on this? I needed lubricant and soldering alloy. So that is what we're going to put into here. And as far as I know, the order of this does not matter. So here I could put the samarium rod, here the ruridit wire, here the long HSSS rod, and everything else here I think needs a dummy filter until I put something into it. Just in case, I am going to do that. But now say I try to craft a LUV motor as soon as I teach my system how to make some of this other stuff. So tell me, can I make an LUV electric motor? I don't have samarium. I have samarium dust. Okay, I forgot to make an EBF for that. So this is our first piece of samarium. We're going to need to wait on a little bit for this. I completely forgot about the samarium. But how much do I need to make one of the motors? Oh, actually, I should have enough to make this. So let's go ahead and test this out. Hopefully this works. If I go ahead and I want to make one of these LUV motors, we should see things start happening. We should see stuff go into these input buses, maybe. Yes, and it is running. So another thing we're going to do is this output bus we're going to put on mainnet. So hopefully it should just send the output of this straight into mainnet, which this looks like it's working. I don't know how long it's going to take, 15 seconds. And we should see it here and it should finish the craft. Look at that. We have officially entered LUV. And now we should be able to make our LUV mixer. Would you look at that? That's perfect. So one other rabbit hole we have to go down is we currently are not supplying our base with LUV power. So for now, what we're going to have to do is make a power transformer in order to get 16 amps of LUV until we can get the LUV substation hatch. Tell me, can I just plug in the elite mixer like this? It may work. It's going to take 4 amps from here. Nope. Okay, see, that did not work. But I was really hoping this would have worked. But it definitely didn't. I might be able to do a transformer right here, though. So this should be transforming up, and I should see that this is now getting enough power to make its osmiridium. Perfect. And this we need to send through an EBF at LUV, which we can do just by overclocking it with 2 IV energy hatches. And now we have our first pieces of osmiridium, which means I should now be able to teach my system how to make the ludicrous voltage coil, which now means I should be able to make the LUV energy hatch. Let's go ahead and test this. So if I go ahead and send this through, it's going to have to craft all of this stuff up, and then it should send it into the assembly line. Oh, our assembler is not at LUV, so we might need to overclock that if we can. Or we might need to actually get an LUV assembler first for that. That might be what we have to do. Yeah, I think that is what we're going to have to do. We're going to have to get the LUV assembler before we do this. Another rabbit hole. We should only have to craft this once, though, before we get the energy hatch. So one more thing that we're going to need. If I try to make this conveyor module, we need liquid styrene butadiene rubber. I didn't plan on doing chemistry today. I thought we would be able to get away with this, not making SBR for a while, but it would seem that's finally catching up to us. This doesn't look too bad, though. I think we actually have most of it already. We have butadiene, we just need to make styrene, which styrene we can get from ethyl benzene. So this should be as simple as 2 LCRs. Awesome, so this was only 3 LCRs, did not take me long at all to do, and we now have SBR. Oh my gosh, okay, so now, back to what we were doing. I thought this was gonna be simpler, I don't know why. I thought, oh, we're gonna get the LUV energy hatch just fine. No, this is just like the first IV episode where we did this. Jeez, okay, so now I should be able to make the conveyor module, the LUV one, I'm hoping. It's currently crafting the electric motors. All right, this is all working so far. And it's crafting it. Look at that. Oh, that's awesome. So now, tell me what else I need for the LUV assembling machine, Elite Assembler. Now we just need the robot arms, which I should have all the data for this now as well. Yeah, these are quite expensive. Okay, but we should be able to do it. Okay, and now I should be able to see. I want to test out the robot arm. Because this is where things are like, oh, did I set everything up correctly? Let's go ahead and find out. And that's our robot arm. Oh my gosh, don't you just love to see it? Huh? Anyone? Any takers? Probably not. But now I should be able to make my LUV assembling machine. Perfect. That's probably going to take a hot minute to craft. 5 electric... Yeah, geez, wow. My Ruberidit supplies also are running very thin. But if all goes well, this should be all good and dandy. We shouldn't have any issues with the assembly line, and we should have our LUV assembler, so we could then make the LUV energy hatch. But now that we have this elite assembler, I'm going to assume the energy hatch... Does this need a... No, this doesn't actually need a clean room. So what we're going to do is we're just going to set something very basic up for right now, because I don't want to use this single block more than once. I only want to use this once. So we're going to transform up with the transformer like we did with the LUV mixer so that we can use our IV power. And this should be getting power. And now I should be able to take my coil and for now just put it into here. But I should be able to make an LUV energy hatch. In fact, what I'm going to do is make the 4 amp one. So I also just noticed that our assembly line needs to be at LUV. So I'm going to need to overclock this. I'm pretty sure you can overclock this. If you can't overclock this, then we have a serious problem. All right, after like 30 minutes of troubleshooting this thing, geez. Finally, okay. Another thing that I'm going to want is the substation hatch, the LUV 64 amp one. We should be able to make this now. This also means we're going to have to redo some of the stuff in our engine room. But that shouldn't be the end of the world. Base is gonna shut down here for a minute. Maybe I want 2 of these actually. That might be the way to go because that's what I have here, or 3 of them, and just completely upgrade our system here. First of all, however, I'm gonna want to make a new P2P frequency. So now that I have these substation dyno hatches, we're gonna have to redo basically everything underneath here. Kind of. We just need to shift it all down by 1. What I should be able to do, my base is gonna shut down for a minute. I should have done this a little bit differently, but I think I need another transformer. Oh, yeah, see, my network is now no longer powered. In fact, I think I'm only gonna do these, I'm gonna do these 1 at a time so my network stays powered. But what I should be able to do is replace this with an LUV 64 amp substation dynamo hatch. And I should be able to just put this right on top of it. Hopefully that is true. So now all of these should still be getting power. So in fact, let me test it by doing this. Okay, all these are getting power. So we're now getting a 64 amps of IV from here. And I'm going to go ahead and set the input for that so we can now get LUV power. So right here, have the input. And now I should be able to get rid of this guy. I hope that worked. It looks like it's working. It's taking power from here. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want a new P2P right here, and this is going to be for LUV. So we're going to replace this with a 64 amp LUV dynamo hatch. So you should be on LUV. And now, if I go ahead and go to auto crafting, where's my dude? My assembling machine, I'm going to want now on a different power setting. So I'm going to get rid of the 4 amp IV and change this to LUV, and this should work. And now I should be able to get all of the recipes that I had. Where are they? And this guy, and put them just into assembly. And we can go ahead and test this by making another 4 amp LUV energy hatch. It looks like it's working. That's perfect. So that means we officially have LUV power. Now we just have to fix the other line down here. Right here, we're going to do the same thing. So we have power over here now, so we can safely get rid of this. So now IV will have 2 inputs. Which, dang, we have 63 IV outputs. That is ridiculous. So now we have 128 amps of IV power and all the tiers below it, and 64 amps of LUV to power the base. Hopefully that's enough. And as we go through the voltages, this line here is only going to get longer. I really should have moved these down when I first made them, but we'll tackle that problem when we get there. Well, I think that's it. I think officially we are solidified in LV. We're able to craft all the components, the energy hatch. Our substation is upgraded. We're going to have to do this for every single tier. More assembly line recipes, upgrade the substation. It's going to be a repeating process that hopefully I'll get better at as we go on. But it's finally time to move on to something hopefully a little bit more interesting. I'm kind of getting tired of that assembly line room. It's a little cramped in there. It's time for some nuclear fission. So to get into nuclear fission, we're still going to need one more, maybe a few more advanced alloys. One of those being yttrium, barium, cuprate. I think we have everything. We have barium, we have yttrium, and copper. All this we have from ore processing. We just need a mixer. So this should start making me my yttrium, barium, cuprate. Like I said, we have everything from ore processing, and this is just going to need an EBF, which we're running into a problem where I'm starting to run out of space for EBFs. So that is definitely a problem that we're probably going to have to solve in the next episode, if I had to guess. So you guys might also notice I put something on this little black wall I have here. I kind of just want this to show what age we're in. I don't know. I thought it would be cool. There was something to put here, and I was like, oh, I think it'd be cool to put that. Anyways, it's time for another EBF. And you know, this is something I probably should have started at the beginning of the episode as well when I did all the other nuclear craft stuff. Well, that's my fault for not doing enough research, but I'm pretty sure we can get the basic reactor without it. Yeah, we only need the basic plating, so this should be really easy to do. All this stuff we pretty much already have. And also, luckily for us, the quest book kind of tells us what we have to make, so I'm really happy about that. So obviously we're going to need the reactor casings. We're going to need a whole bunch of cryothium heat sinks. And most of the stuff by now we also do already have. Like cryothium we've had for a long time. So tell me, I need 215 of these. Can I make that? It looks like I can. I need 62 of the cryothium heat sinks. I should be able to do that. 63 of the fuel cells. I should really have this on a multi-block pattern. But I should, hypothetically, I need one more piece of yttrium, barium, cuprate, and I should be able to make everything I need for this nuclear reactor. So I think I'm also going to be setting this up in the void world. I don't know the repercussions of a melted down reactor. Is it a good idea to put that in my base? I'm not so sure. So for that reason, I think I'm going to do this in the void world. So I would also like a quantum ring here. So I should be able to set that up pretty easily. So I'm also going to quickly build, I think, a platform here. It doesn't need to look too nice by any means. And I should be able to also build my quantum ring somewhere down here. And the quantum ring is going to give me wireless access to my AE network so that I can access basically everything from over here. So now I should have everything I need to make this reactor. If I'm not mistaken, this calls for a 7x7. So something like this. And the interior of this needs to go like so. It needs to be a checkerboard. So the first layer having the fuel cells on the outside. Yes, the reactor cells on the corners, and then we alternate it to the heat sinks on the corners. And this is, I'm pretty sure, very important. You don't want to mess this part up because then you have a melted down reactor on your hands. And well, that's no fun. And it looks like this is now done. We just need the reactor ports, which I think I might put on the back here. So this should be all complete. I hope I did it right. If not, then we're going to have a bit of a problem. So next up, we're actually going to have to start processing our thorium to fuel this thing. Which again, I should have done that first. I don't know why I didn't. But I also actually want to increase our thorium production by using multi-blocks. So I would like to make the multi-block rock crusher. So I would kind of like to do this down in basement chemistry. I would like to get the rock cycle simulator, which this is the basically rock crusher, but the multi-block form. And this should make a lot of my stuff, a lot of my thorium like faster, like a lot faster. And hopefully that way we can constantly have our reactors running, which is what we want. And the rock crusher actually needs blue ice, which I don't have a really good source of ice. So I'm just going to go to a ice biome and I'm going to use Silk Touch. So yeah, I gotta go 6,000 blocks. Jeez, that's kind of far. And then come back with a whole bunch of blue ice. Hopefully I should never have to get this again. What a weird tangent. We're making a nuclear craft fission reactor and I'm traveling, exploring the world for blue ice for a completely separate machine. If that's not a Greg Tech rabbit hole, then I don't know what is. Awesome, so I have basically completely redone not only our flooring setup, we should have a whole bunch of flooring coming in now. Oh yeah. I've completely redone flooring, but also basically this entire setup right over here is completely redone. In fact, yeah, I'm gonna keep this here because there's no reason to get rid of it. I mean, it's still making me flooring. So it's gonna make us a whole bunch of thorium, a whole bunch of deep slate, and it looks like we're getting a net gain on thorium. So we're currently not making this fuel thorium TBU faster than we can make the thorium, so that's really good. So now, let's say I want to go to the void. We need to run some thorium through here. Do I just need to put this in here? I want to put this on boiling mode, I think. And then this needs a lever to be turned on. So this should start running. We're looking good. This should start going. I think this is also going to make a whole bunch of power, which is something that, I mean, we might as well use. But this should upgrade our power production just a little bit. I think it might straight up need to be in energy mode. So if I put this in energy mode, we should see this is now making, oh yeah. I think that's making more than all of our dynamos, and it seems to be running at a decent rate as well, because I think the boiling might make steam. So we actually do want this in energy mode, and I should be able to have this as an input somewhere with a P2P. So on the back here, have this like so, and oh yeah. That filled up rather fast, and then I can have the P2P connected to this guy. And this should now be getting power from here. Oh, that's so awesome. So now we are supplementing our power even more. And it'll just void the excess, because that's not the main purpose of these reactors is power. The main purpose of this is to get later game materials like plutonium, americium, californium, berkelium, etc. But it is really good that we have supplemented power now. But now I'm also going to want to store this depleted thorium. And this depleted thorium, we're going to want to centrifuge for its different counterparts. Now, the quest book does provide a little bit of help with this. I think the route that we are going to go is the uranium-233. I do want to check and make sure Neptunium isn't slightly better, though. That does give a lot more plutonium. Okay, maybe we should do Neptunium, HEN. Yeah, we should probably go the Neptunium route, because that can also give us the other one. So the Neptunium can give us plutonium and americium. So we'll go from thorium, Neptunium, into plutonium. This will also give us americium, which then we can use for curium, which is used for berkelium and californium. And these are used in a lot of LUV and ZPM recipes, if I'm not mistaken. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm just going to have an interface with the thorium, and I think I'm just going to laser node this into here. So this should hopefully work. I have it to where it should insert into here. Perfect, and it should insert another one. And then I'm just going to take this and put it into a drawer right here. So I'll have an extract on orange. And then here we'll have an insert on orange. So this should get the depleted thorium. And then this depleted thorium, we're going to want to centrifuge for its different counterparts. Specifically, I think we're after the Neptunium-236, if I'm not mistaken, which gives us a whole bunch of plutonium, which we could do even more processing for and getting a whole bunch of stuff, but we'll see if we'll get there. So for this reactor, I think I'm just going to have the this guy just right on top of him, because this is going to be the centrifuge that's going to align with whatever this reactor is making. And we'll follow this convention for all the reactors that we make. But I'm going to want a storage bus on this right here, on the depleted thorium. And I want that depleted thorium to go into this input bus. So this should be running, yes, and it's going to make us all our different byproducts, which I do kind of want to store in an organized way. I'm just not sure where at the moment. I guess I could just set it behind here. It's probably not the worst idea. In fact, what I might do, so this is all starting from the depleted thorium, and the depleted thorium is going to make a few separate things. I think 4 things, actually, yes. Neptunium-237, 236, uranium-235, and uranium-233, which I'm just going to store outside like here. So we'll have the neptunium here, the uranium-235, and the 233. We're also probably going to want a drawer controller for this. So there's a few things that we're going to want to craft out of this. The main one is going to be Neptunium-236, the LEN-236, which is going to need this recipe right here, which we should be able to teach inside of a molecular assembler, kind of like so, and that should make our next fuel. So if I were to do this, a U on insert, we'll go ahead and do channel purple, and here on this extract, we'll extract on channel purple as well. And you should hopefully, as soon as I connect this, start getting the things you need. And then you should start making me my Neptunium, which is awesome. I'm so excited about this. So I'm going to go ahead and craft another one of these nuclear fission reactors. I'm also going to set up a multi-block pattern for this. So that just means another reactor and then another centrifuge. So I have everything set up now, and this should all be working. You should start running. And this is going to get me my plutonium. Oh yeah, that is awesome. It's also going to give me americium. So now this is going to be running fully. It's going to give me a whole bunch of americium. Now I'm not sure, can I straight up just use this to get americium? It looks like I can. I think it's the same thing with the plutonium. I should be able to just straight up extract this to get plutonium. Though this is plutonium-242, which, I don't know if this is the plutonium that we specifically want. It might be, it might not. But we can also still process this again with plutonium-241 and LEP-241, and this will give us a whole bunch more stuff. This will also give us curium, which this we can also still run inside of the reactor. This will give us more plutonium, so I think this is the right plutonium, actually. But right now, I think that's a pretty good stopping point for this episode. We got our basic plutonium and some americium done. Hopefully that'll be enough to get us through. We might have to do some more nuclear craft in the future. I know we will. Right, this is just a start, but I did want to get some basic fission done. That way, you know, when we actually get back to using plutonium, we have it. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching today's episode of Monifactory. If you did enjoy me and my content in this episode, please hit the like button and hit subscribe. And I will see you guys in the next episode of Monifactory. Later!